everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel Rather Be Reading, and today I'm bringing to you my January book haul. Now, if you saw my wrap up for January, then you know that because I did a recap of how I was doing on my goal to reduce my TBR numbers in 2020. And you know that I didn't actually purchase any physical books in January. Well, I did place an online order, but it hasn't arrived yet. That'll be in my February book haul. But never fear, I do have books to talk about. We of course still have the library books that I picked up this month, as well as the ebooks and stuff that I acquired this month. So let's talk about those. So library books, I'm really proud of myself because I only picked up 2 library books. So I picked up no physical books and only 2 library books. It was a very reserved month. So the first thing that I picked up is it's The Curses by Law Eve. It does say on here, we knew they were deadly. Oh, we knew the curses were deadly. But the book is called The Curses. This is the sequel to The Graces by Law Eve. I believe this is just a duology, which excites me. So this is the sequel. Like I said, I read The Graces in January. Really enjoyed it. I said in that video that I did feel like that could have been wrapped up as just a standalone, that it didn't necessarily need a sequel, but I did enjoy that book and I do still want to read this and see how it ends. It seems kind of chunky. How big is this? Oh, it's only just over 400 pages, so, and like it's big writing and like quite spacious. So yeah, I picked up that. And then the other thing that I picked up is Day Zero by Cressley Cole. This is book 3.5 in the Arcana Chronicles. If you saw my recent reads videos over the past month, then you know that I started this series in January. It is a YA post-apocalyptic paranormal urban fantasy type of series that follows a situation where it's post-apocalyptic. The apocalypse has basically happened. There's very few survivors, and that has kind of kicked into gear a situation where there are a bunch of people who embody the major arcana of the tarot. So this is the novella. It's book 3.5, like I said. I only owned books 1 through 3. My library has 3.5 and 4. As I've mentioned, no idea what I'm going to do to get book 5, but I thought I would grab this. I have no idea what this follows, but it is book 3.5, so I grabbed it and thought that I thought may as well read the novella, considering that my library had it. So those are the library books. So now let's talk about ebooks. So I have ebooks that I purchased, and I have NetGalley ARCs. I've been on a bit of a NetGalley requesting binge over the past couple of months. I've been okay with it because I've been requesting quite a few and being approved for quite a lot, which is great, but I have been trying to be selective with what I request and not just requesting everything like willy-nilly, so that I'm excited for the books and hopefully don't get too overwhelmed with publish dates. But let's start off with the ebooks that I purchased this month. So I purchased 3. Did I say that already? I can't remember, but I purchased 3. So the first one that I purchased is The Wives by Taryn Fisher. So this is a thriller. You've probably seen it going around. BookTube has been talked about quite a bit recently, and I was excited for this. And then basically as soon as I purchased it, because I purchased this right kind of at the start of January on an ebook deal. I believe this was $1.99 on Kindle. And like as soon as I purchased it, every review that I started to see of it was really terrible. It's a thriller that follows a woman who is one of her husband's wives. Like it's kind of a polyamory situation. He's got several wives, and she knows about it, and the other wives know about each other, but they don't actually know each other. They just know of each other. But then something happens and she discovers that maybe he's got more wives than what she thought, or she discovers who one of the wives is, and then that starts a chain reaction of events. I don't know. I just know that it's a thriller and deals with kind of a polyamory situation. Like I said, the reviews of it have been pretty poor, but I purchased it, so I will read it eventually. The next ebook that I purchased was The Dilemma by B.A. Paris. So again, I saw this on ebook deal, but it was funny because I had actually requested a NetGalley ARC of this and had not been approved for it. And then like the day after I got the email saying that I wasn't approved, it came up on my NetGalley. I'm not on my NetGalley, sorry, on my Amazon Kindle deals. And it was only $2.99. And so I was like, oh, I'll just purchase a copy. So B.A. Paris has written quite a few thrillers. I haven't actually read anything by him. I think B.A. Paris is a male author. Anyway, I haven't read anything by them. And I do own at least one, maybe two of their books on my TBR, or maybe I own one physically and I own another one on ebook. I'm not really sure. I own a couple, at least one, if not a couple of their other books. And I just keep hearing about their thrillers and they sound interesting. So like I said, it was $2.99, so I purchased it. I'm very unclear on what this is exactly about because the synopsis is very vague, which I think is good with a thriller. It basically says that there's this woman and it's her 40th birthday, and her daughter can't be there for some reason, but she's happy that her daughter can't be there. And that's really all that it says. And I don't really know what that means or what it's actually about, but now you know as much as I do. And then the third and final ebook that I purchased was If You Tell by Greg Olson. This is another one that I had actually requested an ARC from on NetGalley and wasn't approved, and then it came up on a Kindle deal. So if that keeps happening, that I'm interested in a book and I don't get approved and then it comes up on a deal, I'm so happy with that because this one was on sale for 99 cents, so less than $1. This is a non-fiction true crime, and it follows three sisters, I believe, and they come from some kind of abusive background, and it follows that story. I think the mother is also involved, not only just in the abuse, but in some kind of crime. I'm not really sure exactly. I said I've just been intrigued about this one. And I had already, like, it was in one of my marked as to read videos, then I saw it on NetGalley and requested it and wasn't approved, and then it came up on Kindle deal, so I've just kind of been seeing it everywhere, and I am interested in it, so I did purchase that one this month. So they're the three ebooks that I purchased, but I did also get approved for 7 NetGalley ARCs in January. Now, some of these I have already talked about because some of them are ones that had published dates that have already kind of come up and I've already read and reviewed, whatever. So we'll just go through them quickly. So the first one we had was Chosen by Kirsten White. This one had a published date of 1 February. And I have just talked about in my most recent reads video. This is the sequel to Slayer by Kirsten White, which is the book set in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe. I owned the first book and so requested the sequel so that I could hopefully continue on with it. I didn't expect to be approved for this, but I was, so I have it and I actually have read it like I mentioned, and you can check out my most recent reads video if you would like to hear my thoughts on it. The next one that I was approved for is The Burning by Laura Bates. This one has a published date on NetGalley of 7 April. I think this might be one of those situations where it was already published maybe like in the UK, because I heard about this book quite a while ago, and is now being published in the US or something. I'm not exactly sure, but the published date on NetGalley is 7 April. This is a YA story. It's kind of witchy, I believe, because it's about a girl who has some kind of shady past and she moves to a new town, and then she starts to really identify with this girl from the past who was accused of witchcraft, and she really identifies with her, and a lot of that girl's life seems to parallel her life, I think also in witchy ways. I'm not exactly sure, but I've been very, like I said, I heard about that book a while ago and I believe I marked it as to read quite a while ago. So when I saw it on NetGalley, I requested it and I was really excited to be approved for it. The next one I was approved for is one that I've already read and talked about on my channel, which is Unspeakable Things by Jess Lowry. This one had a published date of 1 January 2020. This one is a thriller. It is about it's set in the 80s, so it's like a historical thriller. Set in the 80s in a town where boys have recently been going missing, or like, but only for short periods of time, and then returning, and when they come back, they're different. That's kind of really all the synopsis tells you, so I'm not going to tell you too much apart from that, but I have already read it. Didn't love it, but you may, and if you are interested in it, it is already published. You guys could check that one out. The next one that I was approved for is another one that I've already read, which is Dangerous Desires by Dawn Altieri. This one had a published date of the 27th of January. This is a romantic suspense. It is about a cop who investigated a hit and run where a woman's fiance was killed in a hit and run accident, and he was quite infatuated with her at the time, and he was never able to solve the hit and run, and it is now 3 years later, and the female was attacked, is attacked in the street, And she manages to get away from the attacker. However, then that same night, a woman turns up dead who bears a striking resemblance to the main character, and then more women start to die that all look like this main character. And it's the same police detective, lo and behold, who is investigating what's going on and who was infatuated with her all those years ago, and it is basically a romance between the two of them. So, like I said, I've already read that one. You can check out my recent reads videos if you're looking to hear my thoughts on that one. The next one that I was approved for is called Hold Your Breath by B.P. Walter. This has a publish date of 16 April 2020. It is another thriller. This one is so the synopsis sounded really interesting to me because it says there's a girl and she knows that her family isn't like other families. And then her father moves them to a remote cottage in the woods, or a remote cabin in the woods or something. And then I think the actual story is set several years later when she's now an adult, and the police are like revisiting a suspicious death that happened back there, and that is causing her to reflect on like what happened back then. And like I said, her family was apparently a bit strange. I don't know, it just sounded intriguing. So I was interested in that one. Next, I believe this book was in the Read Now section, and it's Murder at the Brightwell by Ashley Weaver, because this was originally published in 2014, so it's been out for ages, and I think it was in the Read Now section, and I was intrigued by it because it is the first book in the Amory Ames series, which is a series that Olive from A Book Olive talks about a lot on her channel, and she really, really enjoys. And so I saw that they had this first book, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, I can download this like for free and read it, and then if I love it, my library will hopefully have the other books, or I can get them on ebook or whatever. Because this is a historical mystery series. I think it follows a like wealthy woman who starts to like investigate crimes. I don't really know too much about it apart from that. Like I said, Book Olive seems to really enjoy that series, so I was just really excited to get my hands on that first book. And then the seventh and final book that I was approved for, I talked about in my February TBR, which is Bad Bachelor by Stephanie London, which has a published date on NetGalley of 3 March. Now, as I talked about in my TBR, it has a publish date of 3 March, but from what I understand, this is a book that is being re-released. It is the first book in a trilogy. The entire trilogy has previously been published, but this first book is being re-released. It's a romance. It's about there's some kind of like article or app that's released that isn't just about the most eligible bachelors, but it's the most eligible bad boy bachelors, like the infamous bad boys of their city. And the main male character is the most infamous of the infamous bad boys on this app. And I think he has a career in marketing or PR. And so being put on this list or whatever, it hasn't been great for his career. And I think as a way to try give him a bit of a PR makeover, he decides to help this library or bookstore that's like not doing very well. And I think the main female character works at that library or bookstore or whatever, and it's about a romance between the two of them. So it does sound like a lot of fun. And I guess the good thing about it being a re-release is that the other 2 books are published. So if I love it, I can read the other 2, which I assume are companion books, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's it, because as I mentioned, I don't have any physical books to talk about. So that was a nice, quick kind of book haul. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, or if you've got any thoughts, or what you guys have been purchasing. How are you guys going with book purchasing? Have you been as restrained as I have so far in 2020? I've been really proud of myself so far. I've been really like sticking to my like parameters I've tried to put in place to try and like bring my TBR down, so I'm really proud of myself. But yeah, please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That is all I have for this video today. Bye guys!